Hey guys, Thomas Cecily Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review The Disappointments Room. So we see this new family get this new home. The family contains a father, a mother, and a son. Uh, we see them take in the house, and the mother starts to see things, starts to grow a little bit suspicious. Uh, of what this new house contains. She appears to be an architect, and also on top of that, a person who takes photography of the place. The photography thing was a little bit extra. I felt it was a little bit unnecessary. Can understand the architect thing as it did help later on. Uh, but this movie contains a little bit of fake outs in combination with your typical cliched horror. Uh, as soon as she enters this room that seems to be appeared to be blocked off. For example, the fake out of her hearing the son talk to like a ghost. Instead of that, it was just him talking to a cat. Uh, and we see that later on that the husband, when they're in like this little town, is like a gamer or something. Uh, so the son, who's Lucas, gets like we see him run outside, and then he's chased by this dog, and the mother comes after them, and you see him get bitten on screen, but that ends up being like another fake out. So there are plenty of fake outs. The mom dreaming of blood. Uh, her continuous character is that of a character that is the one that everything's happening to, and then uh, the father doesn't. Well, actually, I think the father did believe her, uh, and he was at one point trying to get other people to help him with the situation. Got a little like cameo from the lady artist from Bones, the series. She was like her friend, I guess, and then she had a boyfriend on the other side. But the father does at some point leave, and then that leaves this opportunity for the mom to talk to this other guy, like this other construction guy that's there to help them. Uh, and that relationship really doesn't go anywhere. Like he at some point dies, but again, based on the amount of fake outs that this movie provides, I don't know if that's actually based off of a real death or a fake death. I don't know. At some point, the cat dies as well. And again, I don't know if that's a real death or a fake death. There are too many fake outs, I think, in this movie. I think that's what hurts the movie is that there just are too many fake outs. It doesn't distinguish which ones are actually fake outs and which ones are actually happening. So that is one of the movie's biggest faults. The acting is pretty decent. We see the mother doing the research, and then we find out that this is called the disappointments room because deformed kids were taken up to these places and taken out. So an interesting backstory at the very least. So there is that. There is something at least interesting about this movie. I found that bit interesting. Uh, and when things get worse, we see like these flashbacks of the mother like cutting herself because she had dealt with this loss, and what that connection has to do with everything else is very minimal. I don't think there's actually any real connection, which I think also hurts the movie. We see another breakout where she takes these pictures that she found behind these mirrors, and then she burns them, and then she leaves, and then when she comes back, the pictures are restored. Uh, and we found out going back to the visitor part, that's happened to be the same day that the baby had passed away, or the mother had not taken care of that. So that only served to frustrate her more into this sort of state of panic. And you go through the typical, oh, is she crazy? She's on drugs, or medical drugs, I should say specifically. Um, so there are interesting elements here, things that I have seen before in other horror movies. So as far as that's concerned, it's pretty half and half for me on how I feel about this movie. Um, you have the typical cliche horror tropes that hold this movie back, and then the interesting bit. So I would give this movie a 5 out of 10. Um, Pretty standard by the numbers at the end of the day. So there's that. And with that being said, this has been Thomas Sicily Jr., aka Mustached Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.